Hey guys, Will here. I've just received the latest Apple Watch. It's a Series 4. It replaces a Series 3. So let's have a look at it, and we'll have a bit of a chat about some of my thoughts. So packaging is on the outside initially looks a little bit standard to normal Apple products. This model is the 44mm space grey aluminium, and I've got it with the black sports loop. So plastic will come off, and a little bit different with the outside packaging this time. Some people are calling it the origami packaging, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So when you flip the box over, there's these loops that hold it in place. So it's just something a bit different. You pop them open, and there'll be an outside sleeve that houses two boxes on the inside. So a bit of a radical change to how Apple normally does it. So there's the box that holds the watch, and there's the separate case, and you can see it's got nice inlay. So we'll put that aside. Sports band is a standard sports band. Anything really different is the fact that they're labelled as a 44mm as opposed to 42. So looking at the watch, when we open the box, we'll see that interestingly the watch is presented on its own, not attached to a case. So that presentation that you're used to with the Apple Watch being ready to go when you take it out, it's not here. It comes with a nice little sort of little glove or little bag, you might want to say. On the back it's hard to read there in black, but it says 44mm, and so that's a nice little pouch to keep it protected when it's in transit. It's hard to describe, but it does feel different. There's the back, and we'll do a bit of a comparison in a minute to an existing 42mm. So yeah, keep that aside, little collector's item. Should you ever want to package it up and send it off or sell it. Comes with the standard power brick. This is in Australia, so our power brick's a little bit different to some others. And the magnetic charging cable is what you normally expect. Okay, so, and as typical per Apple's very minimalistic instructions, just barely enough to get you going, and the basics on the watch. So we'll put that aside. And as I said about the strap, even though it's labelled as a 44mm watch strap, and it's the sports loop, it's exactly the same as my existing 42mm one. And you'll see that in a minute. We'll have a quick look at it. So this part's all pretty standard. Nothing's different. There's the theory being put forward that maybe Apple will one day allow you to mix and match the watch with the strap and the separate packaging. There sort of might be a teaser towards that sort of thing. So just incidentally, this watch was delivered. So I didn't go to an Apple store, but I have spoken to Apple Store employees, and they say that the Series 4 was almost a complete sellout. And from what I've heard, the gold edition, the stainless steel gold, I think it is, was the hot favorite. The way that mixes matches with some of the colors is great. So as you can see, we're comparing an old 42mm with a new 44mm strap, and they're exactly identical. There's no difference. I just had a little bit of problems getting onto the watch, and this is the new strap with the new watch going on. And as I'll talk about in a minute, it's an amazing difference. So here's my old 42mm, and that was a Series 3. It was GPS and Cellular, and I've got a 44mm space grey Cellular with GPS. And so the old one was actually quite fat. For those that have had one, it felt very thick on the wrist. It doesn't show up too well in this sort of comparison because I haven't done a really good side by side. But when you wear it, because because the bulge at the bottom of the old Series 3 was quite thick, and then you've got the extra thickness of the glass on top, it felt quite bulky. And if, look, words don't do it justice. If you get the opportunity to try on the new 44, you have to do it to experience what the difference is. I was very concerned about the increase in size because I haven't got the biggest wrist, and my concern was that because the overall casing, the height and the width of the casing is increased, it was like, do I really want to go that way, or do I want to go back for the smaller 40mm and try that, because the screen size of the 40mm is bigger than the screen size of my old 42. But I had a whole bunch of watch bands, and so I would have had to start again. So I thought, no, look, I'll take a chance, because it was ordered without trying it on, obviously, and honestly couldn't be happier. It's outstanding. For those that don't know, the Series 3 is a great watch in itself. Battery life is fantastic. I wore it all day, 18 hours a day, and it would last 2 days easily. So comparing the screen size, the thing that gets you is the roundedness. You actually do see the rounded edges of the new 44mm because the screen's going all the way to the edge, whereas the old 42, even though the watch casing was rounded on the edges, you didn't notice it so much in the display, but it is apparent, and it's once you get used to it, it's nice. The larger display is significant, and look, the main reason I upgraded was to get that the new complications, because I'm the sort of guy that would have 10 complications on my wrist if I could. So this was at this point the new watch is pairing with my phone, and like it does on the Series 3, it gives you some examples on how to use it's like basic usability. So we'll wait for that to happen. And like I said, it's a little bit difficult to see on my wrist, but the new Apple 44mm sits a lot flusher with the wrist. If you wear business shirts and you found that the old one would sort of bulge a bit in the shirt, you're going to be very, very happy. I mean, that's a little bit exaggerated because my wrist is thicker as it goes further up my arm, but if you could see it side by side, it sits much flusher and much slimmer, and it's very nice. The overall the extra size of the case wasn't a problem for me. I was a little bit concerned that it might be my small wrist, but no, it's fantastic. So you'll see here some of the options. I think some of the developers will take advantage of these corner complications and improve what they've got. You can see the inbuilt Apple ones, the weather and things like that. Instead of being just a number, they now have the beautiful graphics. You'll see in a minute when we go to the new watch face. But you can see that like the sunrise and sunsets are pretty basic there. But let's have a quick look at some of the screens, and he will do a bit of a comparison of some of the different screens and what they look like. And you can see how they've made use of the rounded edges, and it's a much more pleasing effect. I've only had it for hours at this point, and taking away the honeymoon effect of it's much better. One of the things that you won't hear in the video is the increased, the loudness. It's significantly louder. I think Apple said 50% louder. You do notice the difference. As far as snappiness, the old Series 3 was super fast anyway. This one is definitely just obviously as fast, probably faster, but it's not discernible in my short testing because both of them were equally as fast as each other. But you can hopefully get a little bit of an idea of the increased size. Apologise for a little bit of the blurriness of the video. You can see the curved complications at the bottom left of that, top right. And these are basically in these same watch faces that are available, Series 3, Series 4. Okay, so this is the new watch face, and there's many options. This is going to be a very brief look at it, but there's many options you can do. You can change them, and as I said, developers will probably get on board and update their complications. You can see the bottom right had a drafts complication, and it looks reasonably standard at the moment, but maybe they can come up with ways. So the center complications are really interesting. I really like that. You can put favorite people in there, so you can put time zones. You can see we'll change. Now the top complication, there's only certain things that can take advantage of that curved information screen, but you'll see there's a timer. That's a timer with a countdown, and you'll see the ring will count down to 0. There's a New York complication. There's favorites, so you can put favorite people, your favorites from your iPhone there, and if you touch and click on them, it'll open the complication that lets you call or message them. Get a quick look at that. So I could call a message. Go back and pick anyone else inside your contacts, and they can be changed. Those you can put all 3 contacts in there. Have your 3 favorites, 4 favorites actually, if you want to. And really happy. Look, sorry it's such a short intro, but thanks for watching, and we might have a look at it a bit further down the track.